Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardsHardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more. You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
An invoice circulating on social media states that in November last year, Dr. Devant Maharaj paid several $1,000s to blogger Rhoda Barrett. Speaking with TV6 on Tuesday, he said both the document and the claim are false and described them as retaliation for the information he gave to the police.
Over the weekend, an invoice purporting to be under my hand for, I think, $17,000 to Rhoda Barrett for services rendered was the latest in a smear campaign and a threat campaign against me to undermine my credibility in this issue. At no point in time have I ever been paid by anyone to make any statement within or without PNM, least of all Rhoda Barrett.
Since the claims were made by Dr. Maharaj last month, senior UNC member Dr. Rudal Munilal has denied claims of an investigation, saying that he was never involved in any human trafficking probe. Further, he dismissed Dr. Maharaj's allegations as falsehoods. However, Dr. Maharaj remains unmoved.
Well, Dr. Munilal and I know the truth. We were both there. And given the fact that the UNC have resorted to have their operatives and known persons in the UNC promoting this fabricated evidence of an invoice speaks to the issue of who really is running for cover at this point in time and who is prepared to lie at this time.
He says he is disappointed by what he sees happening in the party.
The report, however, that was lodged with the Office of the Prime Minister on these allegations, there was not one, not two, 3 investigations on this issue. Persons was identified. I received instructions to take action against that particular person, and then those instructions were rescinded. Since then, the individuals in question have been elevated to the highest office in the UNC, and instead of that being the focus is on me.
Nicole M. Romney, TV6 News.
Prime Minister and Minister for National Security, Philip J. Pierre, says he will do what it takes to bring the crime situation under control, even if his policies result in what he terms the ultimate political sacrifice, the loss of office.
My job, even though I pay the ultimate political price, is to stop it. And we've instructed the police to use all legal methods to stop it, even though I pay the political price.
7 people were killed in gun-related violence between last Thursday evening and Saturday morning, prompting a public outcry. Prime Minister Pierre outlined some of the measures that will be undertaken to bring the crime situation under control. Crucially, legislation is being drafted to further strengthen the hands of the police to return calm to the community.
We are very concerned, and right now we are taking immediate measures to stop it now. Short-term measures. What are these measures? We are bringing the RSS to help us on the ground to deal with that issue. 2, we are further enhancing we are further enhancing the facilities for the police in terms of vehicles, in terms of numbers. 3, we are going to Parliament with emergency legislation to give the police emergency powers to suppress crime. 4, whilst we are doing that, we're trying to see if we can improve the morale of the police, trying to see if we can deal with other issues with technology, scanners, drones, etc. And finally, we are enhancing our social programs for these areas. And fifthly, we are giving the police more training. The last government, training was 0. The training vote was 0 for the police. We are enhancing that.
Prime Minister Pierre sounded a warning to the public, putting all on notice for possible discomfort and inconvenience as the police effect their new emergency powers.
Notice we started work on the Grocery Police Station. We are working on the Viewford Police Station. But to lump all of it together for political reasons is hypocrisy. What happened in Viewford has nothing to do with the courts, has nothing to do with the police station. It is a Don who got killed and revenge was being taken.
The exact nature and scope of the new emergency powers to be given to the police have not been outlined, neither has the time or condition that will signal the revocation of the new powers. What is clear is that the recent eruption of violence in VA Fort that claimed the lives of 7 people and injury to a child has triggered a call for action from the St. Lucian public, to which the government is responding. Stanley Lucian for the HCS News Force.
The trio, along with Guyana Elections Commission's employee Sherfin February, Enrique Lyvan, Dennis Bob Cummins, and Mitchell Miller, are before the Georgetown Magistrates Court for allegedly defrauding the electors of Guyana by declaring a false account of votes for the 2020 elections. On Monday, when the matter was called before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan, the defendants' lawyers indicated that they have filed an injunction in the High Court and are awaiting a ruling. Hence, the Chief Magistrate adjourned the matter until April 14, 2023. A team of special prosecutors comprising of attorneys at law Darshan Ramdani, Glenn Hanneman, Mark Conway, Ganesh Hira, Arudnath Gasai, and George Thomas are on records for the state, while attorneys at law Nigel Hughes, UC Anderson, Ronald Daniels, and Konya Sandiford are on records for the defendants. The charges, which were initially read to the defendants in June of 2021, state that between March 2nd of 2020 and August 2nd also of 2020, they conspired with each other to defraud the electors of Guyana by declaring a false account of votes cast for the general and regional election, which was held on March 2nd, 2020. At the time, they had appeared before Principal Magistrate Shirley Isaacs Marcus and were not required to plead to the charges and were released on bail. It is alleged that they inflated or facilitated the inflation of results for the Region 4, the country's largest voting district, to give APNU AFC coalition a majority win at the polls, when in fact the People's Progressive Party Civic had won by 15,000 votes. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The University of the West Indies ended fiscal year 2021 with just over $47,000 in its coffers. But by the end of 2022, things had taken a turn for the worse, with the university recording a deficit of just over $10,000. Principal Professor Rosemary Bell Antwine provided a summary of the fiscal demise.
What we have seen in the past year is a reduction in the Trinidad and Tobago's government subvention by 18.8%. We've seen a reduction in student numbers by 17.5%, which impacts our income. And we've seen a reduction in UE staff headcount by 16.8%, which means that we have been really saving as much as we can, reducing our own costs.
She further notes that the university is restricted from increasing tuition fees and remains largely dependent on government subsidies.
This is a regional university, so we also receive income from governments across the region. We see how important the gate is here still to our income, and believe you me, we are still very grateful to have a gate in this country.
UE says it intends to broaden its entry criteria in an effort to boost enrollment, but insists that this does not translate to a lowering of standards.
So if you didn't have the CAPE, you can come in, do an extra year or two, get a certificate which will give you access to the D program. That's one. Then you heard medical science talking about other criteria that you can look at in order to allow persons to study medicine. It's not just what you wrote on an exam that will make you into a good doctor. Might I say that also holds well for being a good lawyer.
But Vice Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles has given an assurance that the UE is recalibrating, pursuing a number of projects to place itself on a sustainable path, something he says will require support from the government.
The Global Medical School. Now, this is another very significant, not only campus, but this is a national project to build that medical spine for research and student engagement from Mount Hope through to Couva, all the way to Penalty Bay. That spine that will become the medical artery of the country. This is an innovative project, but it can only come into fruition as a developmental vehicle for the country if the government works with the campus and the campus works with the government, and together, they go about this in a very scientific fashion.
The Couva Hospital has been earmarked for the Global Medical School. Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.